Fellow Kenyans, today I would like us to discuss one individual, William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya. Because according to my observation, I've come to realize that Ruto is being pushed to the world stage by the Western governments and is being presented to us as a global ambassador in various issues of global interest. Number one, the just recent concluded Africa Climate Summit, such things are being allowed for him as a person and Kenya as a country to shape the global politics or to shape the African politics and give us the next venture and the direction which we ought to follow. William Samoei Ruto, according to me and according to my little research that I've done, he has been brought in. He was rigged in by America and the Western governments just in order for them to be able to use him, because they understand he's a leader, he's a politician who is shrewd, he's a politician who is smart, educated, and also is very convincing, as I said earlier in other one of my videos. So he is selected by the Western governments to represent them in the issues they want to push to Africans. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, the global is changing. The world is changing. After a given time, the system that the world sets no longer operates and no longer functional. If right now we look at the system that was created close to 100 years ago, it is no longer workable, it's no longer functional. Therefore, the people and the powers that be, they don't come out and negotiate with the ordinary people and negotiate with countries, negotiate with humanity. But because they always do those things and they want to control humanity, they have to be done on boardrooms and behind the curtains. They bring in some individuals, they bring in some characters to play the role of ambassadors and people who are going to convince the masses about the new venture that they want to have. In this case, when we talk about climate change, I tend to believe Ruto is being brought to us as an ambassador of climate change. I know very soon maybe you are going to realize Kenya will be funded to undertake some measures that pertains climate change. This is to encourage people and to create Kenya as a model for Africa as a continent. According to my research, climate change is a hoax. Climate change is a creation of the elite trying to bring people together and obtain full control of human life. Because they will always come up with a problem and thereafter with a solution. If you go back a little bit, you will come to realize that some countries and some nations, what they've been doing all these decades is trying to create systems and trying to create technologies that manipulate even weather. I believe there are technologies that manipulate weather. I believe there are technologies that can cause even these disasters that some of them we see. Some of them are not natural. Some of them are man-made. But when they come to us because we are suffering, then we run to them, then they come as a solution. Right now, if you observe well, who are the people who are pushing this? They have a lot of money, but other than using that money to develop and for better use, they will use that money for propaganda, selling fear to the masses so that we surrender our sovereignty to them and allow them to operate and allow them to dictate how our lives will be. If you go and research about World Economic Forum, you will realize that this body, it is a congregation of the elite and wealthy, wealthy people who meet every year in Davos, Switzerland, discussing the issues of the world. But you'll come to realize that these billionaires and these wealthy people, while they have a lot of money that they could use to change the situations and the livelihood of the common person, they don't put that money into that use. It is unto my suspicion that even the diseases that we have right now, some of them are caused by their researchers and released to the masses. Some of calamities that are happening, the wildfires, the tsunamis, flash floods, all these things, even though sometimes we say they are contributed by the human activities. Some of them, they are human activities that are, they are contributed by the creation of human technologies that manipulates weather and all these happenstances. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, therefore, I would like to say that people like William Samoei Ruto, the president of Kenya, is being used as a puppet, and he is a puppet for the West to try to convince us on the way the West would like Africa to go, the next direction Africa should take. But in reality, this is the high time that we need to stand up and refuse, because we have been told to leave our old ways, to leave our old technologies. We go to a new technology that is not sustainable. The matter of fact is that when they tell us to avoid fossil fuels, in reality, these fossil fuels have been with us for decades. And the alternative they are giving the world are things that are not physically or technologically viable. The Green New Deal is a hoax. It is a utopia that they are selling to the world. And this has been created by World Economic Forum in search for control of human life. The Great Reset is their platform whereby they talk. When you hear the Great Reset, you would think it is something good. They want to reset because their old system is no longer operational. They have been hiding in the woods, but right now they are coming out. That's why they are doing a lot of propaganda. That's why they are setting their messengers. And William Samoei Ruto, the president of Kenya, is one of them. They are going out there to convince the masses, to convince nations, to convince countries, to convince other presidents, to convince people about the new ways that we should get into. But in reality, we cannot, as a people, allow them we cannot surrender our sovereignty. We cannot surrender our will. We cannot surrender our lives for these globalists who their big intention, it is depopulation. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to talk to us and say that people need to start researching on where we are being led to. The climate change is not as they are telling us. Climate change is not as bad as they are saying. In fact, some years back, they started by talking about global warming. Why has it changed? It is no longer global warming, now it is climate change, because they knew when they were talking about global warming, the globe was cooling. Therefore, for them to be able to convince us, they knew that if they continue with that term, we will question their findings, we will question their reality. But when they change, they are now using climate change, whereby every little change you see, they will associate that to climate. There is floods, and we have been having floods over the years and all our lives. Then they will now associate that with the climate. There is some fire breakout, then wildfires, then they will talk about climate change. There is a tsunami, climate change. There is famine, climate change. What is the aim of these people? They are trying to introduce new world order to us, the Great Reset. The Great Reset, they want to bring a cashless society, a digital society. That one sounds good when we say digital. Who doesn't want digital? We have been sold like it's a good thing, digital. But one thing that the people and the citizens of the world, you need to understand, the moment you allow them that, they will be able to control your life. They will control where you go, what you eat, what you do. They will control everything that pertains human life. And one thing that we need to understand, we need less of government in our lives, more of ourselves, more of corporate individuals in ventures other than the government. The government should be involved in the issues of security. The government should be involved in the issues of peace and tranquility in the world, but not coming to interfere on what people ought to say, what people ought to eat, what people ought to do. Therefore, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, it is our high time that we stand up as a people, as a community, as world citizens, and fight this tyranny that is coming and is being brought to us in the name of climate change. That is just a platform they are using for us to surrender our sovereignty, for us to surrender our will. But that we will not allow that, and let's channel our energies into the right directions and refuse that, and it's going to happen. Otherwise, thank you. May God bless you as we continue the struggle and the fight. May God bless you.